Happy holidays! Hope everyone had a good break and are refreshed as we go into patch 1.38 for Eternal Return. Jin here as your host.
I'm your co-host Jignut.
Vanya's token skin has been released, Holograph Fairy Vanya. The art itself, I think, has a hard time really displaying the skin. I think they could have gone harder to really give off the feel of a holograph into the design. But in-game, it looks great. The skin itself matches the art, but the spell effects carry very hard, making a top-tier skin along with its unique dance animation that plays a song.
For the second skin this patch, we have the Kathy skin. It has cool effects, but overall, it fits into that jailhouse design that's kind of boring to me, but it does have some good effects.
You can really see the overall quality of production has gone up significantly on Nimble Neuron's part, and I cannot wait to see what they have to cook up next, as we get to see more and more of the cosmetics going forward.
Just two augment changes this time, the first being sub-augment open wounds, had its cooldown decreased by 1 second.
Heavy knee pads saw a 3% increase to the shield and a 5-second cooldown, making it a sleeper pick for HP stackers and a better all-purpose defensive augment overall.
First up for characters, Leon's glove weapon got a small skill amp nerf.
Marcus has seen multiple back-to-back small buffs, making this kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back in my opinion, creating what I think will be an S-tier bruiser.
Barbara saw some really big buffs to her Q and RW. RW lost some of the base damage and scaling, but it got an extra bonus effect of 20% max HP damage. This is definitely a lot stronger for the character, and we'll have to see how much stronger it really plays.
Celine, just like Marcus, has seen multiple back-to-back buffs, and this one will likely make her very strong, as the reason for the buff wasn't a lack of strength, rather a lack of pick rate.
Alex saw a big 30 base HP buff, along with a 5% AP scaling on his main poke ability, so this is something he can use very well. And with how high his AP numbers are getting, this 5% buff is actually pretty meaningful.
Tsubame saw a large hit to her early game pressure, making the character significantly worse than before, hitting her R base damage and the scalings, and her W lost 5% attack speed at all values.
Chara saw a big increase to her E, helping her main pressure on targets at all stages of the game.
Hasui saw a lot of changes after her initial release through hotfixes, and this recent patch they fixed her execute on R but took away a lot of the damage. She saw some quality of life changes to her attack speed values and her skill cast time reductions, but overall her standing remains the same of a strong solo queue character if you're skilled enough.
First up for items, the first meaningful change is Blaster Helmet saw an attack speed buff, making it finally stand toe-to-toe with its competitors for the slot. Its passive now giving it the best edge it could want.
Mithril Quiver saw a nerf to its movement speed for one of the most insane nonsensical buffs I've ever seen an item get, getting a flat 200 HP shield on its passive. A wonderful buff that really puts Mithril Quiver in the spotlight this patch.
Now we'll talk about the OP solo queue picks and how the meta has changed after a few days of letting the patch settle down. We'll be talking mostly about the most influential characters here and not every single one of them. First up for the bruiser category we have Vanya, Luke, Hisui, and Piolo. Luke has had a ton of presence at both the top of the NA leaderboard and the global leaderboard, having 10 Lukes in Immortal Global. The character remains to be strong, mostly running a either Armor Pen or Ao Dai build, and maintains a very high pick rate while also still having a top 10 average kill score in the game, which is very impressive.
11, Helena, Dagger Jukai, Garnet, and Lennox have been shown to be staple picks in RP gains for their relative pick rates. However, 3 of them shine for less obvious reasons. 11 shines the most out of her peers for her impactful engages and survivability in this burst-heavy meta. Garnet works just as well because of her agency in fights, being able to stick around, and then in the back half, win her 1v1s. Dagger Jukai is a weird pick over Spear, but solid nonetheless with his Amp Drone build creating a strong advantage state for his team to follow up on and run over the enemies.
Next up for our Assassin category, we have Kathy, Fiora, and Alex. Kathy has 3 players doing very, very well, with 2 of them being top 15 global, the character's just been performing very well on dagger builds, outputting a ton of damage. Fiora has a very good kit and a lot of strengths that are shown through decisive playmaking and good play of hitting her abilities. This allows for fights to be won before anyone else can play, making Fiora a really good pick this patch.
For auto attackers, Ryo, Razi, Kadia, and Tsubame are still strong meta picks. And while 3 of these make sense, what's Tsubame doing here?
I thought you were dead.
My death was greatly exaggerated. So, you're the punk I've heard about.
She just got nerfed, and it was a pretty good nerfs. However, because they didn't touch her auto attack power, they weren't enough to get this character into the dirt. So she's still here to stay for a little bit longer until they nerf one of those aspects.
Lastly, we have the mages. Tia is recording very high stats, especially in average kills, which is not what you would normally expect for a control mage. She just has the numbers to perform very, very well right now, showing very high damage, along with her control capabilities. And lastly, Throza here has overtaken Shuriken by a bit and has been showing insane stats. He's recording top 20 stats in all categories except for pick rate, as Zahir is naturally a pretty unpopular character. However, the character is taking off right now. He's really using a Courtier Skadi persona core to deal immense amount of damage.
The last thing I have for you today is our understanding of the hotfix for North America, which separated Plats and below from Diamond plus Qs. Alright, good luck in your climbs and have a good day.